See, most people think that because you're a foodie means you like a lot of gadgets. And I actually don't like a lot of gadgets because I think most of them you could actually do without. They take up a lot of space, and I think a lot of times we're just being lazy. And they end up in garage sales. But occasionally I run into something that actually does make my life easier. So usually when I go to slice an apple for anything, I'm gonna eat an apple, let's say, I use my kiwi knife. I love this guy. He's like $2.50, probably 150 to $2.75 wherever. I blogged about it. But anyway, I usually use this guy. But this Thanksgiving I had to chop a lot of apples, and so I thought to myself, I'm gonna do some YouTubing and find out how other people do it. And I found out, I think it was Alton that said you need an apple slicer. Oops, I showed you the 16 one. Hold on, I gave away my secret. An apple slicer. That's what he said. But he said, don't get an 8 apple slicer because who wants really, really thick slices of apple in their pie? Nobody. So I found this really cool little thing at my favorite little Japanese and Chinese, I think, restaurant supply store called Kame in San Francisco. I'm sure you can find it somewhere else. I'll help you out. But then what's cool about it is it's 8 and then it's 6. Sorry. 16. I can't count. That was never my strong point. Anyway, but it was really cool because I had to make this pie and I was able to slice a bunch of apples to the perfect width. So they're not going to be all totally perfect, but for the most part they were good and my pie came out beautiful. I will say that it's a little dangerous. So when you're slicing, don't be like talking on the phone and doing different, not like that's talking on the phone, but don't, get distracted because very sharp, very sharp. Anywho. As I discovered a few moments ago when I attempted to do this thing, to use this dial-a slice slicer on an apple that wasn't peeled, is you really need to peel your apples before you use this guy. Because if you don't peel the apple, then the slice doesn't go all the way through and all your slices get stuck in here, and then you have like this layer of peel that's really difficult to break through unless you want to cut yourself badly. This is an example of an apple that looked really nice on the outside, but it turns out is kind of bruised. Sort of like some people. Pretty on the outside, bruised on the inside. So let's hope this goes well, because I don't think I have another apple. Notice the handles for the firm grip. Put some strength into it. Ugh. There you go. So that worked gorgeously. Beautiful. Tiny, thin little pieces. Love it. I mean, they're not all gonna be the same, okay? And that's okay. Mix it up a bit. So the other little item that snuck into my life this Thanksgiving is this guy. I don't know if you've ever seen it. I'd never seen it before, or perhaps I had and I just scoffed at it. It kind of looks like butter, right? Well, it's a butter slicer. And it's really, really handy when you're gonna make dough or something that requires cold butter cut into tiny, tiny pieces. So you just slice through your cold butter, and then if you want to, you can go the other way and make tiny little pieces. That works really, really well when you're making a crumble or a pie crust or anything that requires cold butter, maybe even risotto. I love this thing and I plan on using it all the time. I'm not exactly sure. Maybe with a compound butter. Compound butter is just a butter that has like herbs in it or some kind of flavoring, and you use it to flavor meat with or vegetables or anything. It looks pretty, it's impressive. So slice the compound butter, take a little piece, put it on your fish, voila. So here we have our lovely little butter slicer. I have given you guys a link on how to purchase it yourself online. What I like about it as well, I discovered this morning, is that it also doubles as an instrument. Maybe it's harp-esque, if you will, or ding ding. So if bored, you can play it as an instrument as well. But what I like to use it for primarily is to slice butter, like this. Oh man, this butter's really cold. And firm. Okay. So, I like to cut it on the little butter paper so that I can take my fingers underneath. Man, my refrigerator works really well. So here you go, there's our slices. I can pull them right out. Easy peasy. And then if I want to make them smaller or different, I can put them in the opposite direction. I'm so fluid. And slice them down this way without getting my coat in the butter. Again, push through with the paper. The paper's always handy. I like the paper. Plus you can always store your pieces in the paper if you need to. There you go, you got little butter pieces. If you feel like if you want to go hog wild, you can cut them up in little chunks as well.